Hi, everybody. This is Ruth Ratliff again, and today I'm interviewing Vibha Rana, who is an Ayurvedic counselor and practitioner. Today, we're going to be talking about Ayurveda as a lifestyle, including the daily routine and your diet, what to eat, when to eat, how to eat, what types of spices and supplements to use. And I feel that this is very important information, especially now when many of us are looking for alternate ways of improving our overall health, wellness, and well-being. And today I am honored once again to be speaking with Vibha Rana, who is an Ayurvedic wellness consultant and a therapist. And she practices in Northeast New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania. And she also works virtually as well. Welcome, Vibha. So glad to have you on today again.
Likewise, glad to be back.
And today what we thought we would do was doing a little deeper dive into the food aspect of an Ayurvedic practice. But first, what I want to do for those viewers that haven't seen our previous video, Vibha, if you would just go over the major tenets of Ayurveda, what an Ayurvedic practice would entail.
Sure. Ayurveda originated in India more than 5,000 years ago as a complete holistic system that apparently was given through meditation, and then from teacher to pupil, from generation to generation, it was passed on and has been preserved till the modern time. Ayurveda is practiced in India widely and is not considered alternative practice, just like here in the United States or any other parts of the Western world. It is considered a daily primary care. People can choose, they can go to modern medicine doctor or they can go to Ayurvedic doctor. So it's taken very differently. Ayurveda is about keeping your health in order, keeping your health in check on a day-to-day basis through proper lifestyle, eating the food that is right for you. And also, if your health is imbalanced, you can bring it back to balance without taking any pharma medication. So that's basically the basics of Ayurveda.
Yeah, and so it is a lifestyle change, a lifestyle practice where you're incorporating your diet, changes to your diet, changes in when you eat, how you eat,
Yes,
your different practices that we're going to be going into, like oil pulling and tongue scraping,
yes,
um,
yes.
and yes, and the spices maybe that you use on your food as well. So, uh,
Right. So basics of Ayurveda is based on our five elements, and that's where the whole theory emerges of Ayurveda. So the five elements are ether, air, fire, water, and earth. So that's what we have inside us. And when any of these elements go imbalance because of our daily lifestyle, the kind of food we eat, what kind of food we eat during the season, it can imbalance us. And that's what we start seeing as disorders or maybe a disease at a very advanced stage.
it's very commonsensical, isn't it? In a
Yes,
way.
yes. Yeah, a lot of people call it a common sense science.
Right. And it seems almost too simplistic to be effective, but I'm living proof it is definitely effective.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you a question, like why now? Why do you think there is this resurgence maybe, or just greater interest in Ayurveda at this point?
Very, very good question. It is the best time, and I think it is one of the most important time for any. I'm going to speak about all the alternative therapies because we all have been programmed to see a medical doctor for every little thing. Now they have their place, but in your day to day, the doctors are not nutritionists. You know, they have minimal training. They are doctors, they are MDs. Their training is very different. They look at human body different. So if you're going there because you have an upset stomach, they're going to send you home with a prescription or maybe ask you to go to the over the counter and get something and you can get relief.
Right. It's symptom driven more. Yeah,
It's symptom driven,
sure.
whereas Ayurveda is root cause driven. So every migraine headache has a different root cause. So for example, Ruth may have a headache and she might think it's a migraine, but it could be coming from a whole different root cause versus mine. Mine could be coming from, because we both have different body types. So Ayurveda looks at 3 different body types, which have all the 5 elements. So it depends which body type you fall into. That's where all your issues are going to emerge because your primary dosha is the one that gets imbalanced.
Yeah.
So does that make sense, Ruth?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. And I do absolutely agree that when you're out of balance because of all of the stress and the anxiety, and certainly that's rampant now, I believe, especially after the pandemic, people are on like DEFCON 3, you know, they're at a very, very high level of overstimulation. Certainly you can get out of balance very easily, very quickly. And what I've noticed in my own practice with changing up my diet is I'm so much more aware of my body now, my gut specifically. It talks to me in many different ways. I do notice when I eat heavier foods, I get full very easily, and my stomach does not feel good. It feels like there's a rock in my stomach, and then I don't really feel good for a few hours after that, and then the next day. So yes, it's pretty amazing how that works, and I do agree with the interest, greater interest in the holistic therapies in general,
In general.
and I do think that that was spurned and in sort of inspired by the pandemic for 2 years. I do,
Yeah,
yeah, don't you think that
I do, because
that
what
was a gift. The
pandemic
gift of
did,
the pandemic was, I think people were opening up to the more natural therapies that can help them on a day-to-day basis like this.
right? And one of the things that I hear a lot through my clients and from everybody else, like practitioners like you, a common word has occurred in everybody's vocabulary is immunity. You didn't hear this before, not that the word wasn't around, but people are becoming more aware that the immune system is down. So with Ayurvedic practice, it helps to boost your immune system naturally because you're going to eat the right food according to your right dosha. For example, in Ayurveda, we talk about when we talk about lifestyle starting from the morning. Waking up early morning before sunrise has always been like a big push to wake up at around that time so your immune system is more stronger, the air is more pure at that time. So if you wake up 90 minutes before the sunrise, your body is going to be healthy, your mind's going to be clear, and you have more energy throughout the day. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I'm not an early riser, so that's the part of it that I have not been successful at this point. I don't feel good when I wake up too early. And maybe it's just my body's just not used to it. I do get a lot more done, but yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not able
yeah,
to do
it's a
that.
part of the circadian cycle. What you're saying is because for years, this has been your lifestyle.
Yes.
So when you treat your body to do something different, it is going to react. It's just human nature, you know. But that's why Ayurveda talks about going to bed on time. On time means that you are in bed by 10 o'clock.
Right. That I got. That I got.
Yeah.
I
And
can't wait to get to bed.
exactly. And that helps because your digestion improves. Everything that you ate during the day is already digested. It's not in your stomach. That's a big thing in Ayurveda. How do we prevent disease is a part. Ayurveda is a preventative method. It's not a sick therapy. But the idea for Ayurveda is that you don't get sick.
Hmm,
So if you're not sick, you don't need medication.
right. Right. It's sort of like what can go right with the human body rather than what can go wrong with the human body, coming from a completely different perspective,
Mhm.
yeah, than the allopathic medicine. Yes, understand that. So would you, I just had a thought, maybe take us through, because you're talking about getting up earlier.
Yes.
Can you take us through like a day of just like basically how you would structure your day? What would you do? So you get up early, then what? You,
So when you wake up in the morning, we recommend that you do the oil pulling and the tongue scraping. What that does, it oil pulling. Why is it called oil pulling? Because oil helps to pull out the toxins out of your body through your salivary gland, and scraping also. So when you see coating on your tongue, especially white coating, that means there's a lot of undigested food in the body, and it also means that there's a lot of toxin in the body. So sit down and think about that. Have you been feeling lethargic? Have you been feeling heavy in your head, like your body aches, you want to go for a massage? That kind of feeling like it's always achy. It's because there is so much undigested residue inside your body that it's blocking and clogging the channels.
and you have probably you're carrying a very high toxic load in your body as well.
Exactly. And environmental effects too, but you can't control the environment. That's something, unfortunately, we have to live with, or we can avoid it if we can avoid it. But what we are putting in our body, we can 90% we can control.
Well, when I started doing that, I did have that pretty thick coating on my tongue, and I do notice now my tongue is more pink for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Because you're eating according to what suits your body type, and you slowly your body is getting rid of your skin color changes. There's more glow to your skin. There's more smoothness to your skin. You don't need to put all those expensive creams on your skin to make yourself look shiny, although you can still do it. But that's why it's called the inside glow. How does that come? It comes when your immunity improves. It comes when you're getting rid of all the undigested material from your body. How do you do? When you sleep on time, when you get up in the morning, when you are eliminating. So to help you to eliminate, Ayurveda suggests that you drink water in the morning. It doesn't have to be piping hot, but it needs to be somewhere between lukewarm and a little hot.
Do you also recommend a little, oh, and I think this would depend on your dosha too, a little lemon in the water?
That will depend on the dosha. So if
Yes.
you are a pitta person and you've had acid reflux, that's one of your problems, then lemon is a no. Because
I'm
acid,
loving warm water now. I
good.
love warm, right out of the tap. I have well water, and it's even a little warmer, and it's just it feels better. It feels
It
like more
does.
feels more drinkable
Yes.
to me. Yeah,
Yes.
cold water almost feels assaulting to my body now.
Well, it is a sort of thing because cold stops everything. So, for example, if say you had a cut, okay, or you have nose bleeding, it's immediately they tell you to put ice, right? If you had a sprain in your ankle, they immediately tell you to put ice, even when you go to the emergency room.
Right.
Why? Because cold will stop it. It will stop the blood to come out, which is the perfect treatment for that particular problem. But the same ice, the same fridge water will shut the fire in your stomach, which in Ayurveda is called Agni,
So you basically are shutting down your digestion
the
and your
digestion.
metabolism.
Right.
For all of us gals, especially of a certain age that are complaining about not being able to lose weight, drink warm water.
So, yes, so in the morning when you drink warm water, you are also kindling that fire for the day. Now, I sometimes make ginger tea for myself. So ginger is hot. I'm not going to recommend for you, but for
No, I don't like
me, yeah, for me it is excellent because it helps me to get rid of some kapha dosha that I have because I'm primarily a kapha dosha. So I always need to balance that for myself. So in the nutshell, drink warm water in the morning and at least 16 ounce. And you will immediately feel the urge to go to the bathroom. And you cleanse yourself inside out. You scrape the tongue, you get rid of all the toxins, you brush your teeth, do the oil pulling, and done with the shower. All of this that I'm telling you that has taken me like good 10 minutes, it's done less than 10 minutes and you get used to it.
It's an inside job.
It's an inside job and you have to do it to help yourself, to clean yourself. So anything you're eating, if your body is not clean, if people are not having bowel movements every day and they go every alternative days or 2, 3 days, all the toxins are just getting inside the body more and more deeper and deeper, which means they're going in your tissues. So anything, I mean, we eat every day. Just because somebody's constipated doesn't mean they're not going to eat tomorrow. Of course they're going to eat.
And wouldn't it, I would assume, I'm sure it impacts the body and it affects how the body operates in general, how the
Yeah,
whole system operates, how your blood flows, your nerves fire, everything.
everything. Your gut and your brain's
Yeah,
connected. You know, they talk about the vagus nerve.
yeah.
So your mind is slow and you can't think. And then with that, you're going to see some side effects. You know, people get irritated faster, people don't have patience, they get angry quicker because there's just so much they are holding inside. Your body doesn't recognize um, food that are manufactured and that have preservatives. So if you're eating an organic potato chip, body is not recognizing it
Even if
because
it's organic.
yeah, it's not coming from earth. It's not coming from a from milk product or anything. These things that nature created is what your body recognizes.
Then what does your body do with unrecognized food?
It just goes in the system, gets like undigested. It depletes your tissues. We have 7 tissues in the body. It depletes because it doesn't help you to make blood. They don't help you to make blood.
So the body is needing to deal with this sort of unrecognized stuff that we're putting in it, and it's taking up a lot of its resources to do that. It's
It is.
depleting our tissues, depleting our energy,
Yes.
depleting our metabolic energy.
Right. So for example, if you eat beets, I love beets and a lot of people do.
Me
So
too.
you get fresh beet, you can boil it and you can slice it and you can eat it. It will increase the quality of your blood.
Ah, and raise your vibration too, because that's a high vibrational vegetable.
Right.
Yes.
So you want to eat wholesome food,
Yes.
food that has prana in it.
Yeah.
The pranic vibration in the dry food, the packet food, the canned food is very, very low.
And you said even frozen food too,
And
which
even
is what
frozen
I
food,
thought was fine, but I
right?
guess, yeah,
Even
it's frozen,
frozen,
it's cold.
right?
Yeah.
Even frozen food. Now, to be practical, if you have to get something out of all of this, I would say go with the frozen food because they pack it as they harvest it.
It's the best, right?
And it's the best out of the canned food and anything that is dehydrated. But don't keep your frozen food in your freezer for 6 months. A lot of people do it.
Stuff at the bottom that you're
Right.
like you're always passing by to get to
Right.
the good stuff.
And some people have those commercial size freezer and they stock food in it.
Right.
That, from the Ayurvedic point of view, it's not good for you.
Yeah, no, got it. That makes it makes out again common sense. It makes sense. So for say you're done with your morning routine and you're not really particularly hungry like me. I'm not a big breakfast eater. Maybe if I got up at 5 in the morning, I would be, but I'm not right now. What's the idea about breakfast? Whether to eat it or not, to fast, to do that
So
intermittent fast.
everybody is different. Like
Different from the
for
dosha.
me, yeah, for me, I don't need breakfast. I can do my intermittent fasting. which means I'm really drinking water or maybe a cup of coffee until 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I prefer that time because if you think about the sun, that is the time when the sun is the hottest. It is at its peak and it is the hottest, which means that the fire in your belly is also at its peak. So anything you eat, it's going to get digested really well.
Very good.
And
And some,
digestion take depending what you're eating. So if you are eating meats, it takes longer to digest. If you are eating lentils and more vegetarian, then it will still take an hour to leave your stomach. So it's really important that what you eat, you don't drink water for at least an hour because you don't want to shut the Agni. Remember, I gave you the example. You
yes,
starting a barbecue and you put your burger or whatever in the fire, and a naughty kid comes and throws water. What will happen? It's the same thing you're going to do if you're eating and you had water. So the
absolutely.
digestion will stop.
Yes, that makes sense.
So
So,
these are the rules. These are the rules that were set up thousands of years ago. And if you follow, I mean, it's amazing. And if you follow them, you are going to see a change in your physical health. You're going to see change in your behavior.
yes, yes. Well,
So
because your gut controls your emotions and
exactly.
your cognition and everything, and that has far-reaching effects on your entire being.
Anytime we interfere with a natural rhythm, whether it's through food or it's through a sleeping pattern, then we are going to see a problem. Now, just to give an example, 7 o'clock is when they have made some protocols in the modern, times that 7 o'clock should be the time when you should finish eating. The reason why we say that is when you go to bed by 9:30 or 10 o'clock, your stomach should be empty. Why it should be empty? Because if you have food, say you just ate something, even if it was fruit, and within 15 minutes you just went to bed, the digestion is going to be stopped. And when you wake up in the morning, it's not like the digestion is going to start again. It stopped. So the fruit you ate is just going to sit there undigested until you eat your first meal, and maybe the first meal that you ate, maybe that will help to push the food out of your stomach from last night, and that causes problem. That is your undigested food, and if you keep doing it over and over throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the years and years and years, it creates problems.
Diet. Now, I assume again it's dosha specific, whether
It
you're
is.
going to eat a lot of meat or a lot of vegetables. But for me, you had recommended more leafy vegetables with light, like basmati rice. And that's really what I've been eating almost every day during, in our main meal. And I'm very satisfied by it. My husband's very satisfied by it. I don't know if he's, but he's eating what I'm eating, obviously. But he's not fussy, which is good. But that was a big thing for me was, if you're like a meat eater, and you really feel, or you feel like you need more protein, more animal protein. Some people do. I feel like I still need a little bit of that.
So,
So if you can
so,
speak into that a little.
so Ayurveda doesn't deny that you shouldn't have meats. What Ayurveda says not to make meat your staple. Also, the pranic value is lower because if you think about it, without I'm not trying to be biased, not rejecting anything. I myself sometimes will have chicken soup or something. So meat doesn't have very good prana because you have to kill the animal. They say to use meat more as a, they don't use the word supplement, but I think it's the easy way to understand that it's more like a supplement rather than a main food. In our society, that is the main food.
Oh, most definitely. And factory farms are prevalent, and I'm
Yeah.
definitely a consumer of organic meats, even though I know that I think that if you're going to eat meat, you really should try to eat sustainably sourced and
Yes.
organic meat where the animals are treated in a more
And
humane
the
way.
eggs
They're
and the
processed
vegetables
more
also.
humanely, and the vegetables, right? People know organic is out there. It's not. It's certainly more available now, so this is not impossible to find. If you wanted to get into this a little bit today, some of the spices.
Mm.
If you want to, turmeric is huge. People, turmeric this, turmeric that, take in capsules, powder, pill form. Um,
Yes.
it almost feels like too much turmeric.
So,
Turmeric, however you say that, I'm saying it wrong.
well, some people say turmeric, some people say turmeric. So as long as you get the word across, I will say turmeric. Um, so turmeric is the yellow spice that is native to India and the southeast of that region, South Asia, whatever you call that area. It's wildly grown in India, in that region. A lot of people grow in their backyard over there too. I knew some people that grew turmeric in their backyard, and it's like it comes from the ginger family. So the root looks very similar to ginger. Now, turmeric in Ayurveda is all the spices are medicinal. They all have medicinal value. That's why they are used in a certain quantity. Turmeric should be used very little. So I remember watching my mother, my grandmother, my aunts when they cook, when they would use the spices like cumin and coriander, turmeric would be the least. It would be the least because turmeric is heating and drying. So when you overuse turmeric, it increases the heat in your liver, and it also increases your vata dosha because it starts to dry your system.
Oh, geez, so I shouldn't even be using that at all.
No, no, no. It's not that you shouldn't use
Or
it
just a
all. You
little,
should
a little.
okay. So if people say, okay, I do golden milk every day, but they also take 500 milligram of capsule, then they will go out with their friends or whatever, and they order a turmeric latte. Then it's just way too much. 500 milligram of turmeric is about I would say about a teaspoon at least, or maybe a little bit more. That's a lot. So the best way to take turmeric, your golden milk, your turmeric should be cooked in something that is oily. That's why in ancient Ayurveda and also even today, when you cook turmeric in the milk, it's easily absorbed by your liver and it doesn't overheat your liver.
Oh, and that's very popular, that golden milk. I see that around a lot. Is that
Right.
something that you would recommend to take before bed?
Yes, you can take before bed, just make sure it's boiled, it's cooked in the milk, not just like you have hot milk or warm milk and you just mix it. It needs to be cooked as if you are cooking it. So it's assimilated.
Right.
And then you can take that before your bed. It helps you to sleep. It helps with insomnia, and it's also very good for your bones. Actually, in Ayurveda, they recommend that to help with arthritis. So if anybody has joint pains or they think they have the onset of arthritis, it's going to help them. We don't say it cures, but it will help them.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
turmeric, you have to be very careful. You know, what happens at some point, and then people that are taking turmeric and they are taking the ashwagandha, which has become another popular herb. It's heating and drying. So now you got two herbs, the most respectful herbs. They're considered holy in Ayurveda. You're overdosing yourself, and then they get the bad.
Right. It all depends, and there are so many other factors that can influence how you're going to react to a particular herb or spice as well. I
Right.
mean,
So,
like
for
a
example,
supplement.
if you have a pitta and vata constitution or a vata or pitta constitution, and you taking that amount of turmeric, you are going to see some side effects. It may increase your hot flashes if you're at that stage.
Right.
You may start seeing drying skin, and you may say, I don't know why my skin is so dry. These are the little symptoms, you know. So you may want to be careful.
Sure. No, absolutely. I believe that with the ashwagandha as well. My husband's very sensitive, and he was feeling, I was giving him 2 tablets. I can't remember the milligrams of the ashwagandha. I was taking two as well. But we were both feeling a little like logy during the day. And
Hmm.
he was feeling really tired during the day. And I said, well, let's stop the ashwagandha for a while and see what happens. And it was fine after about a day. Uh,
Yeah.
he felt
You
back.
overloaded yourself. That's
Right,
what.
overloaded ourselves, right? Because these are powerful supplements and
Yeah.
spices and herbs, very powerful. People don't realize, they think, oh, it's nature, it's natural, but no, you could overdose on that just as easily.
Unfortunately, we are living in a time where everything is very easily accessible.
Oh, yes.
Everything is, you can get it anywhere.
Amazon, next
Amazon,
day.
yeah, next day delivery, it's right there. Not only that, it's not recommended for everybody. In Ayurveda, people will say, well, I've been taking ashwagandha for so long, but now this is the problem. So I have to, counsel them for that, okay, this is why you are having the issue, depending on the issue. And the other thing is that, like any medicinal herb or any medication, when your doctor gives you, they give it to you for a certain time period.
Right.
When you take it every day, 2 times a day, every day, then your body doesn't recognize it as a medicine. It just recognizes it as a food. So
Yes.
after a certain time, you want to cut it off because the effect of that herb remains in your system for a long time. So say you stop taking Triphala tomorrow. That doesn't mean your body is going to be deprived of it. Your body will still have the effect. So that's another thing that is important. Like people, I know people will say, oh, I'm running out of my turmeric. I got to go to the store and get it. I mean, you don't have to,
Now, you can also give your body a rest for a
but
while.
that's what it is. Give
Yeah.
your body a little rest, give your system a little rest.
Yes, yes, yes. And you just mentioned another supplement that I'm taking that you recommended, and that's Triphala. Would you mind speaking to that a little bit?
Yeah, Triphala means three fruits. That's the translation. So the three fruits are in there that are very good for your gut. They help to cool. There's an herb that will cool it. It has amla in it, which has a lot of vitamin C. It boosts your immune system. Triphala is excellent for everything, and it balances all the three doshas.
Beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
I do notice that one of the reasons that I sought out Vibha's counsel to begin with was because I had GERD, the gastric reflux, and it was happening every single day for a while. But since I have been doing that and eating differently and doing the practices, the GERD is almost non-existent. So that's enormous to me after only a few months of being on this program, or it's really a lifestyle, actually. And
Excellent.
that's
Yeah.
what Ayurveda is. It's not a diet. It's not a program. It's not a quick fix, as I'm
Not a quick
sure.
fix.
No,
No, it's not a magic wand. You have to do it. I tell this to my clients that look, once you leave my office and once you leave the Zoom with me, it depends how we're doing it, you have to do it
yeah,
because it's not a pill, it's not a magic wand. You have to go and follow the protocol.
yes,
Follow the food list that I gave you, follow the tastes that we talked about, you know. And also it's very important that you don't stick to one particular taste. Like some people want everything salty, they like the saltiness to it, or they like the sweetness. So everything they will eat would be sweet. Like they will have the pastas and the rice, and like even like in fruits, anything that is sweeter, they will gravitate. That also depletes your system.
yeah.
You need to incorporate all the six tastes in your food list.
It's supposed to be very healthy to get a lot of the different tastes and the different colors too.
Yes.
The rainbow, right? They talk about eating the
Exactly,
rainbow.
exactly. Unless there is an issue going on, and then one of the tastes we want to avoid for a while in order to balance that problem. But in Ayurveda, they say all the six tastes need to be incorporated in your meals, at least in one meal. With the modern lifestyle we have, at least in 1 week.
And that was another piece of what I noticed. My taste, everything tasted so amazing. And I'm craving these vegetables, the peppers, onions, celery, parsley, kale, fennel. I mean, I'm into fennel now. Who would have thought? What's fennel is amazing. That's the one that tastes like licorice, like black licorice, but it's amazing if you put it into a stir fry. Cauliflower is like my most favorite vegetable now, with a little bit of olive oil over the top, put it in the oven. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Um, so this has been really wonderful for me because I'm just sort of exploring all these different ways of preparing these foods and
And here's
enjoying.
another thing, this is your lifestyle. You can live like this forever, and then just, I mean, it's a long subject in Ayurveda, but you can decide during season which is the good food for me during my season, based on my doshas, based on if there is any imbalance, what spices I need to use during certain seasons, you know. So it all incorporates a lifestyle.
But is there anything else that you'd like to add to this conversation before we close?
What I would like to add is that nobody needs to be intimidated by Ayurveda or feel like, oh my God, this is not for me. I cannot get up early in the morning, so forget about it. Now, it's nothing, it's about you. Ayurveda is about human body, period. So you are different from your husband. His body type, I'm sure, is different. You know, his lifestyle is a little different. So as a family, you can incorporate your lifestyle and his lifestyle and make it work. And you don't have to bombard yourself with major changes. When I see a client the first time, like I saw you, it's a very simple change. If somebody says, well, I really cannot go to bed until midnight because of my work, I cannot force them to go to bed at 10. But as far as I know, I have imparted that knowledge to you. And it's up to you to use that knowledge to the best of your ability and for your betterment. Just to give an example, the the celestial sound Om is actually 3 words: A, U, and Ma. So if you want to pronounce it correctly, it is Aum, but we say Om. The 3 letters mean the 3 stages of our existence throughout the day. A is the waking stage, U is the sleeping stage, and Ma is the dreaming stage. This is all we have.
I never knew that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so we are either awake, or we are sleeping, or we are dreaming.
And that's really on a metaphysical level as well, too, because they call this the waking dream, right? Life is we're in a dream state because we're still sleepwalking through our existence in so many ways.
And the reason why I brought this into is that people really, we need to go a little bit deeper and say, who are we? And it really boils down to that. So we are either awake, or we are sleeping, or we are dreaming. So how do we want to spend our day?
So you mentioned a consultation, and I just want people to know where they can reach you if they did want to have a consult with you. You have a website, and if you'd like to tell people that, and I'll certainly
Yeah.
put the information in the description.
So they can certainly go on my website. It's called greentuliphealth.com. I have my phone number there, my email there. I also have a Facebook page at Green Tulip Wellness.
Wonderful. And you, again, you work virtually. You can do
Yeah.
everything online, fill out that form online, and then Vibha will schedule with you a Zoom meeting or whatever other kind of virtual meeting. And it's all in your hands. Very illuminating, very, very basic, but very much needed basic information that we take for granted, that it's wonderful to hear it from your perspective as a practitioner, as an Ayurvedic practitioner, because as you said, Ayurveda is not just for one culture. It was made for humanity.
Yes,
And it makes sense, as you say, the different doshas and how that ties in with how you, your lifestyle and how you eat, what you eat and how you eat.
absolutely.
Wonderful. And look forward to our next talk, which is going to be more on the spiritual practices that Ayurveda recommends and talks about the chanting the mantra and just in general the gratitude that I feel is so much a part of this beautiful lifestyle. Vippa, thank you again. It was
Thank
my
you so
honor
much.
and pleasure.
Yes, thank you very much.
See you next time.
Yes.